might have come from somewhere else, but this is where we found ourselves. Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
Welcome to another edition of the Local Show here on Grassroots Community Network. We want to welcome all our audiences to the show this week, our Facebook, YouTube, soon to be Apple and Roku. And I want to present our guest of the week. It's Torre, back on the show, buddy. It's been a while.
It's the local show. Love it.
Well, thanks for being here today and taking the time for
Of
your
course.
very busy campaign runoff schedule.
Yeah.
We'll
I saw you today.
Yeah.
I was out walking door to door.
I was actually driving a car. It was really weird because people see me around. They're like, God, does he drive? Is that Skarvan?
Never seen him drive.
Does he drive? And I do take breaks from the bike and walking. And it's mainly to transport.
Yeah,
our Sundog Athletics.
You were
clients.
working today, right? You were
working,
doing a tour today, so there you go.
And I do understand we need to drive at certain times. It's not about because sometimes I get this around town, like, oh, no like how can you be like no driving and stuff? And it's not. It's never about no. It's and we talked earlier before the show. It's not about nothing at Lift 1. It's not about no driving. It's about like just what's reasonable, like with our values. And being a small town in the middle of the Rockies, we're not New York. We're not, Denver. And I think it's more just what's appropriate. So we'll talk about, and that's a theme through a lot of these things. It's about transportation. It's about housing. We're not asking for everything, but we need to do something,
Agreed. 100% I agree with you on that.
So what are your thoughts kind of about growth and development? And, here we are in Aspen, this small little town, but it's got this massive amount of money and pressure on it all the time. Just some kind of brief, kind of general thoughts about how we move forward as a community in terms of growth.
Well, we're getting right into it.
I think we're just going to skip right over the winter snowfall, although we could backtrack and talk about that.
Back there.
It's been such an epic winter, too, at the same time.
We can talk about whatever we want. I talk about smart growth. I'm not a no-growther. I want responsible progress. That's what I look for. Right. And I think you're absolutely right. What we see here in Aspen is just there's a lot of money that comes in here, and sometimes the best decisions aren't made just by the dollar. Right. So, and I think that's where government kind of steps in a little bit, is to really help guide our community when it comes to growth in a way that it's good for everybody or as many people as possible, right? So you brought up Lift 1A. And a very divided vote, 26 votes to win that and make the project move forward. But I didn't really hear anybody saying they didn't want anything to happen up there.
Right.
I heard that people wanted something that was appropriate for the area and that they wanted it to mitigate for some of the impacts that it's going to bring. Smart growth, not no growth, just smart growth.
Smart growth. And I think that this brings up another, this Aspen Area Community Plan seems to kind of almost be getting pushed to the side. No one really talks about it that much anymore. And in fact, they kind of slay people personally when certain things move forward, whether it's transportation solutions or affordable housing solutions, and they kind of go on the personal attack. Do you think the Aspen Area Community Plan is still relevant? Because you start to see kind of things happening like Lift 1 that values skiing and the economy really over things like the environment and affordable housing. Where does the Aspen Area Community Plan kind of fit in anymore?
That's a pretty astute observation. I don't know. That's kind of inside baseball. I don't know if everybody knows kind of exactly what you're talking about. But when it really started happening, Erik, was what was it? 7 or 8 years ago, the Aspen Area Community Plan was moved out of the Land Use Code, so it was basically deregulated. It was used as a regulatory document. And now it's a guiding document. But you're absolutely right. I don't really hear as much reference to it as should be going on.
Right. Because it really does. And it took years of time with thousands of locals to create this.
Several rewrites. It's been rewritten and updated over the years as well.
Right. And I'm sure we'll do it again, and it'll take several years to do that again. But that really is, and Steve Scadron has talked about that. And Steve's a friend of mine, openly. He was my last roommate I ever had, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And you'll have to catch a show sometime with Steve and I together, because we reminisce a little bit about some of the fun we had as roommates.
Too funny.
But this kind of clash of values he's talked about. So it's not, like there has been some conversation, but I think the pendulum has been swinging with kind of what I like to call urban values. It's more about, we drive every day, everywhere. We don't mind big buildings. It's kind of this urban mentality kind of slowly, seemingly taking over from small town values. Like, no, we kind of moved here because money wasn't our number one priority.
Right.
We kind of moved here because we didn't want to drive at all, if possible. We really appreciate the fact that there's affordable housing, and we'd like to take advantage of that. I mean, it just seems like, and now we're only housing 40% of our workforce.
Yep.
We've kind of lost a little bit of ground on some of those Aspen Area Community Plan goals and values. And
I agree.
I know that's a big issue.
It is a big issue. On the one hand, you have to say times are changing.
Yeah.
But again, that's why I'm running for mayor. That's why I run for public office, is really just to help guide it a little bit. There's change is inevitable, and I think that's something that we all agree on. But how can we make change good for us, and how can we keep the values and the ethics that make Aspen so great? Because that's why I moved here. I've lived here 25 years, and I moved here because of the people I met, the community that I was introduced to, and the culture that Aspen was. Right. And I do hold on to it dearly, but I recognize times change as well. We've got to do our best to hold on to those values.
There is a joke before we go to break about how many Aspenites it takes to change a light bulb. Do you know about that one?
I do.
Well, I'm going to tell you my version. How many Aspenites does it take to change a light bulb? And pretend you don't know the answer.
I don't know. How many?
It takes 10, actually. You wouldn't think that. But it takes one person to actually change the light bulb and 9 to talk about how great the old light bulb used to be. That's right. So we'll leave it at that. And we do have to laugh. It is important to, I think, have a sense of humor about the community and these issues, too.
They're serious issues, but absolutely, we need to approach them with cooperation, collaboration, and a smile on our face.
Exactly. And I'm going to go to break with a smile on my face because I'm so thankful, in all seriousness, to our underwriters this winter, including the Aspen Public House, Aspen Animal Hospital, Aspen Square, the Aspen Times, Klug Properties, Sundog Athletics, and Pitkin County Landfill. I got them all right in here.
Yeah, you
Not
did.
looking at a teleprompter. So I'm very thankful to you guys for making our winter series happen, bringing inspirational guests like Torre each week. I hope you guys have enjoyed the series. We're going to take our quick, only break of the show, and we'll be back in 2 minutes with mayoral candidate in the runoff in the final days, Torre, so don't go away.
Aspen Animal Hospital's partnership with Wellhaven offers our community a very friendly and professional staff featuring 5 veterinarians, a new care companion plan, wellness plans to cover your preventative care needs for the entire year, and now introducing new feline-friendly Thursdays. They also offer exotic pet care and acupuncture. For more information, call 970-925-2611 or visit aspenanimalhospital.com.
I'm so passionate about this community. I absolutely love living here and raising my family here. It gives me a lot of pride to share this with my friends and my clients and help them achieve their dreams of owning an Aspen snowmass and enjoying this incredible lifestyle.
Aspen Times, telling the stories that matter since 1881, is committed to local prep sports, arts, and entertainment coverage. They also offer the Drop-In, weekly recreational videos highlighting why we love to live in this community. The Aspen Times at local newsstands, aspentimes.com, Facebook, and Instagram.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Hey, did you miss the turn for recycling?
I can't read the map on your cracked screen.
Celebrating another great winter season, Aspen Square Hotel is the hospitality place, featuring fireplace studio suites and larger condominiums with full hotel-style services in the center of downtown Aspen. Aspen Square is proud to support the Locals Show.
Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
We're back here on the Local Show. Thanks for sticking with us here on Grassroots Community Network. And here I have Torre, a longtime friend. I admit some bias, and it's a small town. I mean, a lot of us have been friends for a long, long time. I do like Ann. Ann Mullins is great.
Absolutely.
And it's not a personal thing. And
No.
and what I wanted to bring today to the viewers was getting to know you on another level. And so we're gonna backtrack a little bit.
Sounds good.
It's not even really backtracking. It's just another aspect. I know you are into sailing and enjoy the sport of sailing out in the water.
Yep.
My version is the canoeing version, usually through North Star. Doing a little right hand and a little J stroke. But you like to sail.
I do.
Can you tell us a little bit about your passion for sailing?
That's interesting. I grew up sailing, but then moving out to the Rockies, there wasn't as much available. So really about 12 years ago or so, maybe a little more than that actually, I got reacquainted with it through a great friend of mine, Don Sheely.
We love Don.
Love Don. And
sail in peace, Don.
Sail
in peace.
on, my man. And I got an opportunity to go sailing with him, so we did a few trips down to the Caribbean and some other locations, and rekindled my love for it. It's wonderful. I love the ocean. I love the water. I love that whole experience. But there's something also about the discipline of sailing that really drives me. Because I could take a beach vacation. And oftentimes sailing isn't actually a vacation; it's a working vacation. You got a lot to do, and I captain my own boats, so I don't have a crew. I sail it myself. So
wow,
with the friends that I go with, right? So it's really it's a discipline ethic where preparedness is number one. You want to wake up every day and know what possibilities are out there, and you want to be prepared for all of them. And in that way, it's just it's a wonderful exercise. It's a great way to get away, be focused, and then hey, you're sailing around island to island and loving that kind of lifestyle as well. So it's dual-fold for me. There's many reasons that I like to get out there.
So if someone's sailing with you, do they have to wake up and go, "Oh, Captain, my captain"?
No.
Do they have to kind of like just call you the captain?
No.
Put the hat on your head.
No, none of that.
So it's not a power. But I like how it's like, but you're taking charge. And you have a plan.
Yes.
And it's an adventure.
It is.
And it's beautiful.
It's amazing.
You've got all these dynamics going on.
Yeah.
Kind of sounds like being Mare and Aspen.
In a way,
there are some crossovers there.
There is, absolutely. I am asking for an opportunity to guide the ship, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. I love getting out on the water, and I learn something about the places that I go and myself all at the same time. So.
And are you a skier or a snowboarder? I couldn't remember.
Both.
Okay. See, I go both ways too.
I primarily snowboard.
Okay.
Growing up skating and surfing, so I took to snowboarding a lot more readily than I did take to skiing. But I love skiing. Skiing's come so far since I started that it's more fun than it's ever been.
Yeah.
So I don't ski as much as I'd like to. I'm on my snowboard just because I'm better at it. But I like both.
I like the new fat skis because they've stolen from snowboard technology, and it's almost like being on two small snowboards now.
Bigger
like
side
my big
cuts.
Nordica Patrons, they got the reverse camber, the rocker, they're wider. So it's kind of like being in the best of both worlds when you got the fat sticks, and I love going up in the Highland Bowl and riding those things.
Right.
They actually like to be ridden almost like big snowboards too, versus turned like forcibly. So it's just kind of a nuance.
Right.
I can appreciate what you're saying.
You're leaning on it more than you are jumping from edge to edge.
Yeah.
Like we kind of used to do a little bit more.
Yeah, just do.
But I like them both.
Oh man, what a
Equal
winner it's
opportunity.
been! I think we're almost at 150% of snowpack, normal snowpack.
Unbelievable. The spring
Incredible,
should be great.
Are you thinking about fun water sports like I am?
I am.
Start to think about being on the water?
The runoff is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm excited about spring, but I'm not ready for it yet. I would like a little bit more.
We got to and I hate to use the word greed, but greedy for powder, I think is acceptable in all social circles.
I think people are going to agree with that one. Yeah, I do. Oh, speaking of that, it's also really neat. I love the fact that the Aspen Skiing Company is putting on 3-day concerts out at Buttermilk early April.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
It sounds like our season is going to be not just great because of the snow that's on the mountain, but a lot of fun in town. So hopefully business does great as well as we approach the end of the season.
We got to give Ski-Co some love too for the extended weekends at Highlands.
Absolutely.
However, I do want to ask you a pointed question about Give a Flake. What are your thoughts on Give a Flake and this focus on taking care of the environment and then partnering on Lift 1 and then the Pandora's expansion. So here we are with projects and expansions that are clearly not environmentally friendly. And then you have this Give a Flake campaign. I mean, do you have, just general thoughts on that?
I love the ski companies' initiatives and their open efforts towards greening up their operations. But I think we all can do a lot better than we currently do.
Yeah.
That's one of those trade-offs that's very difficult when you're talking about business.
Yeah.
You want to do more business. You want to take care of your employees better and things like that. But at what cost?
Right.
You forgot another one in there. The airport expansion.
Right.
Potentially having some negative environmental impacts as well.
Which Skico supports.
Yes,
they've come out and supported
it. But that's really, and that's full community. I mean, our whole community needs to really ask ourselves questions about growth in that sense. Environmentalism is something we need to keep as a top priority in every decision we make.
Exactly.
And to that end, what we need to do is continue to be an innovator and a leader. Because, current technologies can't keep up with the growth that we're experiencing. So we need to be really burgeoning those technologies and how we're implementing them here in Aspen. We need to get back to being a leader globally on environmental issues.
Exactly. And I think we can all do better. I think it's important to have dialogue.
Yeah.
And talk about these kinds of things, because sometimes it seems like conflicts of interest. I think it's good to talk about that. I mean, it might be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
For certain people at certain times to talk about those things. But hey, life's not easy, and there are, it is discomfort sometimes. But I think when you go through those things, you get better. Yeah. If you're willing to take some pain, some discomfort, some uncomfortable conversations, I think those are important to move forward. And you move forward with the single-use plastic bag ban. By the way, I found out are used an average of 8 minutes. Plastic grocery bag is used about 8 minutes.
And
because
tossed.
You think about
That's
it takes
right.
from your grocery store to your home,
Yeah.
and then it's into the environment.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you for that initiative, because that's something that shows the country an example. San Francisco did it. And San Francisco got the single-use water bottle banned and has been an innovator, and I think we can maybe have more innovations that way and lead the country.
I agree 100%. And, the bag ban is just one step.
Yeah.
We need to continue with that kind of ethic and move forward with eliminating more single-use plastics.
Exactly.
And, when I talk about doing that, it's not just from legislature. I'm not just saying, let's make a ban. What I'd really like to see is that some of the environmental health staff focus in the city do some outreach and work with people in our community to see about changing over their usage of products. It doesn't have to just be a ban done by City Hall. We can really start making smart choices in our community, and that's what the plastic bag ban was about. Is really, not just the 2 grocery stores, but about moving that ethic forward.
Right, and giving people alternatives. So it's like, well, if we ban single-use water bottles, all of a sudden the aisles are empty at City Market and Clark's of all those single bottles.
Right.
Here's your alternative.
Yes.
And the city gave out stainless steel. I have one. I should have brought it today. Aspen Tap.
That's right.
It says on it.
That's right.
And then we put in these water stations, which in Wisconsin we call those bubblers.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. Where's the bubbler? You guys know if there's a bubbler nearby?
Oh no.
I don't know what they called them in Minnesota, but I think they might have called them bubblers. But that's where I grew up. So the city put out the bubblers out there. So there's alternatives. And we've got great quality water.
And we should do more. It's been interesting. I was involved in that Aspen Tap program, the origination of that. And over this campaign, I've actually had a couple people come up and say, hey, I hope you will install more of those water stations.
Yes.
Which, once again, and that's what I'm saying is we need to keep those things moving forward. Just starting that program, just doing it once, no, it needs continual follow-up, and we need to do that more. So I look forward to maybe installing some more water stations and moving forward with that.
Right. Let's talk about another major value. In fact, the #1 priority of the county and now the city, I believe, is affordable housing.
I hope so.
Creating more. I was there the night you cast the deciding vote for Burlingame. There were, in fact, voices were cracking. I was one of them. Tears were flowing. I remember, and I could say some specific names, but I don't need to. Very emotional, very intense. Our biggest affordable housing project ever. And you cast that deciding vote. So I want to give you credit for that.
Thank you.
That's a concrete result that I think separates you from your opponent, who's claiming credit for units that I think were already approved before she was on council,
Yeah,
and
part of
maybe
those
she was
approvals.
part of the moving forward of those
Yeah.
units.
Well,
but I think that's a clear difference with
Well,
affordable housing.
I appreciate that, and once again, we want to be careful and ensure that people understand we're not talking poorly about Ann. It's really just about some of the representation and decisions that have been made. This council, and Ann herself said it. She said that housing has not been their priority. Building lodge rooms and lodge space and the growth that we've seen, that's been their priority. So housing, admittedly by them, and Ann has said it hasn't been their priority. I think it is a priority you need to maintain. It needs to run concurrently with everything else that you're doing.
Right.
From the W Hotel to the Lift 1A approvals to a few other projects in town, we're losing ground on housing. And unless you keep up with it as you're going, we're going to put ourselves in a real bind. It's not just Aspen. Ski towns all over the Rockies and all over the world are experiencing the same thing.
Yeah.
A lot of places really refer to it as a housing crisis.
Right.
It's a crisis state. We are so lucky that we have had such a great program here for so long. But once again, we need to get back on it. We do need to create new units. But another thing that separates myself from Ann and the current council direction, I believe in helping out our current residents.
Yeah.
You're in Centennial. We've spoken before about Centennial and the repairs and the maintenance that they need. We need. I call them resident partners. I don't believe in the city building units and then walking away, or we're still partners. That's what deed restrictions are all about, is that we are still partners. Right. So I am a strong advocate for figuring out, assisting the financing of getting those repairs done to Centennial within the next year, 2 years. Let's get it going.
That's important.
Burlingame has the same issue. They've got construction flaws where people's decks are actually not attached to the building and coming apart and ripping. So It's not just Centennial. There's other projects that we have in town. I really think that we need to shore up and solidify our current program while we're looking at new opportunities as well.
Well, it's like you're growing up, you're a kid, you leave your bike out on the front lawn and it just sits out there getting rusty and then useless and not running even. And you just go, hey, Dad, can I just go get a new bike? And your dad goes, oh, yeah, son, it's fine. Go get a new bike. You just left your bike out negligent, weathered, rain effect, like has happened in Centennial with water damage.
Yes.
So that's a good analogy.
It is.
So why do we hop, skip, and a jump, go off and buy some new housing when we aren't taking care of our current? And Centennial is the second biggest next to Burlingame. Right. So it's significant. Those are hundreds of people out there. So I really appreciate you bringing that forward. We've been given the Heisman, like by the city and the county. And I know there has been some solutions, but nothing that the city and county have agreed on. So I think that's really important. Take care of what we have first, as well as focus on new housing.
Absolutely.
So
and new housing is going to need to be some new products. We need some entry-level housing. We need to take care of aging Aspenites, retirees, and seniors as well.
Yeah.
All the while we're building the middle. So, we have needs still out there for affordable housing in different segments and areas. But like I say, we need to also continue to take care of our current resident partners.
What do you think about transportation solutions? Because I'm on the open space and I serve on the open space and trails board for the city, and we've come up with some ideas, and some have moved forward, like the pedestrian cycling crossing on the Castle Creek Bridge. So we made sure as a part of the bridge maintenance project that, yes, we're going to accommodate cyclists and pedestrians so they can actually go in two directions instead of playing chicken where there's not enough room to get through. The Castle Creek Road path that's going to go out to the Country Day and music schools. Yep. So some things we're moving forward.
Absolutely.
That creates more bike friendly because people feel safe.
Yes.
The East Hopkins Ped Bikeway, also about 400 people a day use that in the summer. So what do you see as kind of some more creative solutions that can get people out of their car and healthier for themselves and the environment?
Number one, the pedestrian and the bike pathways, we need to finish connectivity. We need to continue to stay committed to that. And that's both for transportation, for health, for visitors. I mean, you know, it's not just getting somebody to work on their bike instead. That serves a great deal of causes for us. So we need to stay committed to our pedestrian and our bikeways and finish that, complete those connectivity trails. And then as far as it goes with the cars, I mean, I say we nibble at every area we can. It's a multi-prong approach, you know. There's no one solution that's going to solve it. There's no one solution that everybody can utilize. So I think we need to reconvene with the task force that was out of the Institute, hear some of their input. We can make some progress. We're talking about moving the needle 10 or 15%. That requires that it's very specific. You know, we need to be specific and measurable about who we're trying to reach. For example, as we were talking when I saw you today, you were driving because of the necessity of your timing. You were working, you had gear, you had clients. That's great. That's
and there's
justified.
there's times we need to drive.
There's times you need to drive, and then there's times that you make a choice not to. So we need to facilitate those opportunities, those alternatives that are specific before we're just disincentivizing. You know, we've got to make plausible alternatives available.
Exactly. All right, buddy. We're out of time. I have so many more questions, but we're out of time.
Oh,
I hope you had fun.
I love coming here.
I baked you some cookies.
I'll take them.
If anything, this is fun.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed our conversation.
Oh, thanks, Eric.
And I wish you the best of luck moving forward.
Appreciate it.
All right, Torre.
Thanks to everybody that was watching. Remember to vote April 2nd. There's another election.
Or before.
Or before.
I vote by bike before that.
There you go.
And thank you guys for watching this week on The Local Show. Aspen Public House is a modern gastropub located in the historic Wheeler Opera House building in the heart of downtown Aspen, serving breakfast, lunch, après-ski, dinner, and late night 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to late.
Aspen Animal Hospital's partnership with Wellhaven offers our community a very friendly and professional staff featuring 5 veterinarians, a new care companion plan, wellness plans to cover your preventative care needs for the entire year, and now introducing new feline-friendly Thursdays. They also offer exotic pet care and acupuncture. For more information, call 970-925-2611 or visit aspenanimalhospital.com.
I'm so passionate about this community. I absolutely love living here and raising my family here. It gives me a lot of pride to share this with my friends and my clients and help them achieve their dreams of owning an Aspen snowmass and enjoying this incredible lifestyle.
Aspen Times, telling the stories that matter since 1881, is committed to local prep sports, arts, and entertainment coverage. They also offer the Drop-In, weekly recreational videos highlighting why we love to live in this community. The Aspen Times at local newsstands, aspentimes.com, Facebook, and Instagram.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Hey, did you miss the turn for recycling?
I can't read the map on your cracked screen.
Sundog Athletics is your opportunity to experience one-of-a-kind guided adventures and gain new skills to experience the thrills of snowshoeing, fat biking, canoeing, mountain and road biking. They can be reached at 970-925-1069. Fresh updates at Sundog Athletics on Facebook or sundogathletics.com.
Welcome to